we were supposed to be getting it to run our school. Anybody else? Yes.
Can you sort of describe the timeline for decisions? When do you have to have a proposal to the school building authority? And will there be further conversation? Maybe you've got some different ideas from what you proposed here. So how's that process?
Yeah, that we have to submit October 1st. The state has us present in November, and they make the decision in December to send the money out. They only do it once a year. So, you know, we checked, we worked on this some last year, and, you know, whether it was the right decision or the wrong decision or whatever, I don't know. I'm not trying to push the blame on anybody. But when we started working on this project last year, Dr. Beck was superintendent, and he simply didn't want to proceed. He said he didn't want to fight. So we didn't. So we started on this in the spring. We met with them several different times, trying to get proposals and ideas out there. And then when I came in July, we were short on time. So we had to make the proposal October 1st. I would like to think that we would have some kind of chance, but realistically, I don't know.
So there's a board meeting after this, and you're going to make a decision after this about what to submit? No,
the SBA is going to just, they haven't even finished their proposal yet. I talked to them before I came over here, and I said, can we consider other options? He said, yeah, you can consider other options up until Thursday, because all the formula they use, for instance, we they would know how many more additional classrooms we would be asking for, and we simply put that into the formula. So it's not like starting all over on the project. He said that they make adjustments up to the last hour of the time.
So there is a proposal from the county right now in discussion.
They are bringing that to us tonight to show us. We've handed out a few ideas on what we want to look at. I mean, one of the proposals they're doing that I had called about last week was they were doing these different things. I said, well, just for argument's sake, put in there what type of proposal there would be if you closed the health board or if you kept the health board open. So they're going to have figures for both of those things. And I really don't know. I mean, I don't know what those figures are going to look like. Larry was going to send me the proposal on email, and I don't know if you all got the prior shirt we did. It crashed our computers for a good while, and the time they came back up in 2 days maybe get on. I'm sorry, over here. But you know, yeah, it's a short timetable, but we have to present something to even be considered for any type of thing. And my concern is getting the kids out of the flood zone as soon as we can. Now the rest of that is kind of like minutia. You're only going to submit one project, and that will be the project. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, that SBA would approve our moving them to that school and building one extra classroom. That doesn't mean you have to do anything else. I mean, you still have that size building that you will have, and you can still consider other options as far as how you move. All they're doing is giving you money to build a building. So, you know, there's always up for debate and discussion and changes, and it's hard to do it in a short time. It is.
So am I understanding that if, let's say, you do a proposal to move this school out of the floodplain and get SBA money, things like the roofs on the buildings, the sprinkler system, the sewage system, the electrical components, none of that is going to change. It's still going to be bad.
Yeah, tell me that one more
Okay,
time.
so let's say that you move the school out of the floodplain in whatever configuration you do.
Okay.
All right. Green Bank will that money cover, for example, a new sprinkler system at Green Bank? Will it cover a new roof at Green Bank? Will it cover electrical upgrades at Green Bank to accommodate air? Will it do anything for Green Bank except remove the middle school kids from that building?
Well, you're assuming that we would be moving the 7th and 8th graders. okay? I mean, you're assuming that.
All right, let's assume that.
Okay. Yeah, there would be a three-step process to the whole project. And the first one would be to fix the Martin Middle School to handle the students coming up here.
Okay.
The second step would be to renovate the high school, which are moving 4 different resident students up there. And the third one would be Green Bank, because they have enough space right now. And so you wouldn't have a space problem.
Right.
But
Now, it would be renovating Green Bank, not just moving them into newer classrooms.
they would renovate, that's correct.
They would correct and that.
Yeah, that would be part of the project.
So let's take.
Because you'd have to update it with air conditioning and furnaces and all that. Yes.
Okay, now let's take the second scenario. Let's say a scenario like Denise or Stephanie were saying, and it only involved Marlington Elementary and those schools over there. Then would Green Bank be affected at all?
Well, unless you submit a separate project, and you submit projects every year, you get one fund. And they submitted Hillsborough for 4, 5, 6 years before they finally got it. Okay? Then you go on to your next project. So if they would fund this one, then we would apply, that's just for discussion. So I can say, we would apply for this, they would fund it. Next year we go back and we apply to fund the high school. And we wouldn't have to. If the board chose to, they could say, well, we're going to, our second step now, we think it's really better if we renovate Green Bank first. I mean, I don't know.
So those 3 steps are individual
They are.
SBAs.
They are.
None of them are guaranteed.
No, they're not. And that was, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I shared with the board was this. Let's just say that we submit a project, and just forgive me here for being off on my own little tangent, but let's say that we agreed it would be a K-6 project. We're going to move the Marlington Elementary School up here to Marlington Middle School. We're going to move the kids from the high school. All right. We're going to move Green Bank to 2. So we're going to about 475 kids. My question was, and the architects came up, and that's when they gave me they came in and pulled out the blueprints and went through it all. I said, what if SBA don't give us any money for the high school? And we already moved these kids. So we need to make sure that the building is capable of handling those students with no more money, because you're not guaranteed anything. If they give us $7 or $8 million to fix the middle school, what's the odds of them giving us money again the next year? I don't know.
So you could end up with a big, overcrowded high school that still has all the problems it currently has.
Well, I don't think it'd be overcrowded, but I think you wouldn't have the renovations you need. Yes, I think that's fair.
Like the second gym.
Exactly.
Like, whatever else.
Exactly.
Like the ability to have.
I mean, I think it's things you have to consider. Yes.
How fast are you going for all this to happen? I mean,
Pardon?
if the SB would fund this project first, how soon are you looking for this to happen?
Oh, well, what happens is the SBA announces in December 9th or 10th, I think, the 14th, they announce who gets the money. You know, which comes out in the paper, they got the press and everybody there. And then you have to go through all of these meetings, and you have to have bids, you have to take bids, you have to have people come in to do estimates of what it would cost, because if you're talking about a big project, you've got to have more than one person giving you an estimate. And so that takes a long time. So if you're thinking about this time next year, that's not going to happen. It takes a lot longer than that.
Like 2 or 3 years, or?
It could take a couple of years. I mean, just look how long it took to finish the Hillsborough project when they started on it. I mean, you don't know what you're going to run into when you start doing a building. So it's not going to happen overnight. No. Yes.
So how did we get in such a bad shape, all buildings, over the past, 20, 30 years? I'm not understanding why, we didn't do a little bit here and a little bit there. I mean, why is it all of a sudden that, and people at Green Bank, because I don't know about Marlington or Hillsborough, I mean, there's days there's not heat, there's days there's not water. I mean, and I can't imagine that just all of a sudden that it all went to pieces.
It's been going to pieces for years, and that's been talked about for years. When I was bringing it up,
applied for SBA money before and been denied, or is nothing? I mean, I'm not trying to
Yeah, they have.
because I don't understand how things got so bad without 15 years ago noticing that it's in bad shape. And
well, first, when you only have $80,000 in your budget for an entire year for maintenance, and the cost is going up year to year to fix things, it's hard to keep it up. And that's one of the things that we're into. Now, as far as, I know you back 7 years, and, you know, I know they've applied for projects in the past. I wasn't privy to them, but I know they applied for projects. But I think mostly at that time it was the Hillsport project. And that was the one that they,
Last year it was all, it was over $8 million.
yeah, that was last year. After we got the money before for them. Sure.
We've been trying to live off money. We've been surviving on the money we have. Without anybody putting any money in, just what the state gives. The state's not going to give you any money. They're going to give you enough to say, hey, we gave you a little bit of money, and that's what we've been trying to live off of. Our furnaces are over 30 years old, all of them. In the meantime, we've gotten all new technologies in the schools, but we didn't upgrade our electric panels. So now we're trying to run all this technology on a third of the electric panels and stuff. The HVAC, you know, we've never even had a chance to look at that because it's millions of dollars for new HVAC systems in schools. Our plumbing in our schools, like the SBA is going to do nothing for the school. Why? Because it's in a flood zone. They're not going to put money into a school that's in a flood zone. They'll tell you. Ben actually looked at me and said, oh no, we're not going to put money into a school that's in a flood zone. I don't blame them. You know, that's money out the window. Okay? So the pipes in this school, when they build, when you hire a contractor, we like to think that everything's done, and I guess they do it to the standards, but it's the bottom of the standards, okay? When you have corrosive waters in this area, like in Green Bay, your pipes are getting, they're done, okay? So they're starting to leak. We had one the other day, okay? We fixed that. We have another week, we have another week, okay? We're chasing ourselves on all this stuff. Everything's wearing down. Why have we not stayed up? We've been trying to live off of this little patch of money. I mean, how do I replace a $10,000 furnace? How do I replace, I replaced the water heater from back last year, it's $10,000 with one water heater, okay? When one thing goes down, and that's what I'm after, you know? I spend $10,000 today, because we need the gym floor at the high school. It was in bad shape. I wanted to redo the whole thing. It was 3 weeks and $16,000. I didn't have 3 weeks or $16,000. So I got them to screen it the best I could get through this year. You understand what I'm saying? We're chasing ourselves. We don't have levies. All these other counties have levies and extra money that we don't have. Okay?
I'm talking 15 years, Mom. I'm not talking.
The same thing, or even back then, you know, there was other problems. I mean, they've been chasing themselves. I mean, just like the board office, 900-gallon fuel order, 18 to 25,000 in the winter. You know, that's a lot of fuel, folks. You know, middle school was about $6,000 for 1 month up there last year. I mean, it's just, you can't imagine. I never even had a clue until I got in the board office, you know, and I thought, well, it can't be, oh my gosh. You know, everything is like out the roof. Okay? It's not that anybody's been hoarding money. There is money. You know, there is money. Like you said, we've been short $1,100 a kid.
Well, there's one other point about this. The SBA was created basically to share the capital needs of the state, so that counties that don't have a whole lot of money have an opportunity to get other money. But the rules of the SBA from the beginning have been about, as you said earlier, reducing the numbers of schools. The job has been to force school consolidation. They will care about fixing your roof. They don't care about your furnaces. They don't care about any of that stuff. If you can figure out how to do it, that's what happens. I mean, you can't get money to do the kinds of things that Ron's talking about.
You're talking about the roof at Green
To
Bay.
fix things up.